Okay, so we're going to look more forms. So we have the action method, and then we have the label, and fname ties it to the ID. This is the variable name for the values that will be entered. This is input, and we choose the type, and there's all kinds of different types, right? We saw these before, all kinds of different types. And then we have here we have a title and a placeholder. So the title is like the hover deal. Enter your name, right, is the title, is the hover deal. And the placeholder is that text which disappears when I start typing. So that's the basics. And autofocus means the cursor is going to show right there when the form comes up. The cursor is automatically focused on that entry point. And autocomplete is off, meaning don't fill this in. They have to retype it. So there's some attributes and values for a form. And then here's another input. And we have, let's just look at it. Interested checkbox, color, date, get a calendar. Color didn't go away, that was weird. Email, right, where it would tell me I could choose a file, upload a file. Hidden field, a month. I can choose a month. Choose a number. I can't enter text, only numbers. Password, radio button. You can only choose one out of the group. Range, reset everything. Search, submit, telephone, text, time, URL, week. So all kinds of different types. That's what they look like. Checkbox, color, right? Here's type color, input type date, email. We get interesting when it gets down to radio. So here's input type radio. And it's radio, and it's got name is radio, because that's the name of the variable, right? And the value that's going to be stored there will be, what is the value that's stored there? Radio, if it's checked, it's going to be, the value is going to be, what is the value going to be? I think the value is going to be, do I not have value? What are my options? Value. I think I need to have value there. Let's look up radio. MDN radio. Orange, label red, access key, selected, disabled, radio group. So it's putting them all into a group. Let's see what value is. The string attribute allows you to associate a data value with an element. It is not used for any specific purpose, but you can access it with a script for your own use. Be aware, however, that some elements, such as text box, will display the value visually. What is the value that gets submitted? Radio, label, red, green, blue. An element that can be turned on and off. Radio buttons are most always listed together in groups. Only one radio button within the same radio group may be selected at a time. The user can switch which radio button is turned on by selecting with the mouse keyboard. Other radio buttons in the same group are turned off. A label is specified with label. So let's see what it is. Copy that. And come up here and put it here for a second. Put it right there. I'll copy this, make it 32, and then close it all. And go back to this one and undo that. And then come back to this one. We're going to process, it's get, and we have div, radio, 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 radio. We don't want range, reset, search. And div class form, form. We don't need those. And then run it. So radio 1, radio 2, radio 3. And what came through, I need to change that. It's coming through radio. So I need to go back to here and say, hey, get out of this variable, radio. So maybe it did that and put it into radio on. Gave me radio on. That's it. Radio on. So how do I associate a value with that and make it a radio group? So we could do radio button HTML and W3 schools radio buttons and input type radio, name, gender, they all have the same name, value, okay, value, so we do want value. So this one's nice. Let's take that. But I changed the name of it. So I called this, yeah, gender's fine. And it needs to be right there. Cool. So those are all grouped because they have the same name. So they all turn on and off. Choose one of those. I like that example. I guess if it has no other value associated with it, but that didn't tell us anything. So there are all the radios. But here it tells me, hey, you need some sort of label or title attribute. Whatever. So those are, then you have a text area. So text area is like this. Big area to write in. And it looks like this. Text area. It's no longer input. Text area, ID, name, rows, text area. So I was going to have you build radio buttons, but you guys don't have the Go side, so it doesn't help. Here is a drop-down box. And so select with options. That's how you get a drop-down box. And then the values again. And then select, and you can have option groups. Okay. So option group, option group, option group, and then options. I like field sets a lot. See name, it's kind of all wrapped around. So that's done with a field set, and the legend is name. So that's where you get name or home address. That field set's really nice. Input range. That's JavaScript doing that. But the input range, type range, min, max, values to start out at. Login example, so here's just an example of what a form could look like. Looks like stuff you see on the web, all styled with CSS. right? And submit. Oh, so it looks like I have this programmed here to show us how to submit stuff. And then a little bit of review. I don't know what this review is. Just a basic one. So that's forms. Questions? No? Cool.